Detroit Lions. Oh, baby, that is big time stuff. Touchdown, 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 Detroit Lions. Oh, baby, 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 baby.
Yes, yes, yes. There we go. We getting through it. How we doing? How we doing? Crazy day. Having to start later because we're waiting for the Lions once again. Another year of them releasing the 53-man roster a little bit later than everybody expected. But yeah, wild to say the least. We're going to get into it. I'm going to let some people get in here. But what's going on? I'm not sure if Grit's in here still again. But say what's up if you're in here. How's it going, Donkey Kong? Good to see you again. Yes, more of Will Harris. Yeah, but we'll break it all down. We'll break it all down. Who's you got? 6:30 show. Let's go. You're right. Yeah, had to wait. I was gonna go earlier, my normal scheduled time. But I figured today might as well wait for the 53-man roster to be officially announced, at least the first wave of it. You know, I know there's not going to be another wave, but it always gets switched up. It could change tomorrow. As you're going to see, we got some crazy moves that we made and some that, you know, I didn't expect. You're looking at the roster and you're kind of like, whoa, what, you know, why do we only keep this many? We're going to get into it. Today's cut day. One of the worst days for athletes. So, you know, much respect and love to all the athletes out there who put in the hard work all off season just to come up short. You know, they gave their best. Jerry Jacobs had a nice little thing to say about that. Grit, I see you're back. Good. Mary Peterson, what's going on? Rainbow Girl. Yeah, you know, Craig Reynolds' release is just, it's insane. Let's get into some stuff. I see some people are starting to get in here, so we can get into it. I'm going to talk about a few positives before we get into the cuts. I know everybody wants to get there. I'm let a little bit more people get in here first. But yeah, you know, 53-man roster today. Go Lions, Johnny Peterson. Good to see you in here. But yeah, before we get into the cuts and some of the negatives and the shockers and whatnot, let's talk about some positives. Some celebrities are drinking the Kool-Aid, and one of them is Charles Barkley. I thought I would share this while everybody's getting in here before we get it really rolling. But Charles Barkley's drinking the Kool-Aid. He said, I love Dan Campbell. I quit football after one day. When I'm watching Dan Campbell, I'm like, I want to do over. I want to play for that dude. And yeah, I would love to play for Dan too, but it's cool to see that Charles Barkley, who doesn't speak a lot on the NFL, is a Dan Campbell fan. And then, of course, I don't know if you guys saw, but Woodward Sports had an interview with Mark Wahlberg. Mark, he was there at the practice facility, and he's from Boston, but he predicted, he's a Patriots fan, but he's predicting that the Lions are going to win the NFC. He didn't say the NFC North. He said the whole NFC. So, got some celebrities drinking the Kool-Aid too, which is good to hear. And I'm going to take a drink of my Kool-Aid while we're at. Cheers, everybody. I'm going to look into the comments, and we are going to get this thing going into what everybody is here to talk about, and that is the cuts, the 53-man roster that has finally been revealed. I'm shocked. I want to know what you guys think. I already see some comments coming in here. Some people, you know, we see a Craig Reynolds that shocked that he's released. I was too. More of Will Harris. You know, Stephen Gilmore. Hey, good on him. But let's get into it. All right. Let's just go right down the line. The Lions have released their official 53-man roster before the season starts. Now, like I said, this is subject to change tomorrow. You know, we're gonna pick up a lot of guys in the practice squad. It's day to day for some of these guys, but this is what we got going. And I'm gonna say what's up to everybody real quick though. Reynolds is upgradable, okay. Cake Man, what's going on? Super cool to see they didn't let Gilmore go. I'm happy about that too. D77 Mac, glad to see you back in here in the comments. Same with you, Patrick. D-Town Heat, what up? All right. Yes, I see some of your comments, and we're going to cover that right now. So let's just go down the line. We're going to go with offense first. We're going to start with quarterback. This is our starting quarterback, Jared Goff. Of course, we got the Goff, man. Get Goff my lawn, all right? Goff's going to be out there slinging it all over the lawn in the NFL season this year. And then, of course, we got Teddy Bridgewater. But we cut Adrian Martinez. That was an earlier cut. That did not happen today. We kind of knew about that for a few days. A little not really shocked about that, but, they put Hendon Hooker on the 4-game pup. He's not going to be able to participate for 4 games or play for 4 games, but they do plan on activating him after that, and he will be our 3rd string QB. I don't know if he will be practice squad, if he will be 53-man, but that's the plan. And Nate Sudfeld, of course, suffered an ACL injury in the preseason. He had a tough preseason anyways. A lot of people giving him a hard time. I was one of them, but it's a tough break. When you tear your ACL or have an ACL injury and you end up losing a whole season, I know Dan Campbell feels bad for him, and so do a lot of people. But yeah, here we go. Running back. I see people right now. They're going off about Craig Reynolds. Craig Reynolds did not make the cut. We only have 2 legit running backs right now. Jahmyr Gibbs and Montgomery. And I think Patrick said that. Or who said that? Somebody said that. I'm not sure. It's up here. Anyways. Oh, no, it's D-Town Heat. D-Town Heat said only Monty and Gibbs. And yeah, it's kind of a shocker to me. I thought that Craig would stay. Now, the thing with Craig Reynolds is he was released. He wasn't waived, so he's not going on the waivers. So do expect Craig to be on the practice squad. But I was really shocked that we didn't keep him on the full 53-man roster, and we only are keeping 2 running backs and then, of course, our fullback, Jason Kambinda. But, yeah, it's just kind of crazy to see that we are only keeping 2 running backs on the roster. Now, Mohamed Ibrahim, he's on the injured reserved. Jamar Jefferson was also waived as an injury. And then, of course, they released or waived Benny Snell Jr., who I thought had a decent preseason. He didn't get a lot of chances, but he did show some promise there. If he passes waivers, maybe he's back too. But I was really shocked with Craig, and I can see that a lot of you guys are as well. It's just I've never seen this. I've never seen, an NFL team only keep 2 primary backs and then a fullback. I don't think, you always have that 3rd RB in there. And I definitely thought it was going to be Craig Reynolds. Turns out it's going to be nobody as of now, but do expect Craig to be signed to the practice squad. As he was released, he's not on the waivers. Still, kind of shocking. What do you guys think? I mean, yeah, we're going to go out or we're going to go out and get somebody else, but I do think that Craig makes the practice squad. Probably works his way up, but we'll see what happens. Lions making some interesting moves. Weird moves. Definitely, yeah, great. Got to have a plan for RB3. They have something in mind. I'm not, we can't go out there and be like, what the heck are they doing? Because they have a plan. They're not dumb. And if they don't have a plan, then maybe they are a lot dumber than we thought. But I trust Brad Holmes. I think that there's something that they see themselves doing here in the next few days, definitely before Kansas City. If not, like I said, Craig wasn't waived. He was released. We can get him on the practice squad ASAP, and he could easily move up to RB3 in the amount of time before the Kansas City game, 100%. He knows the offense. He's ready to hop in there right away, but they must have something else in mind at the moment. All right, I'm going to go into the comments. I see you guys going off over here, and that is just after the running backs, and we got more to talk about. But all right, yeah. He has a plan. Braylon, we just don't know it yet. That you're talking to Braylon Dennis. I'm really questioning Holmes' logic on when it comes to Craig's release. That's what Braylon said. Yeah, there's got to be something. And Braylon, we're definitely going to get more into what you're talking about too with Starling. But here, yeah, don't think that this right here, this 53-man roster, this is not going to be what it looks like. Even probably come week 2, week 3. They're going to make moves. It's constantly moving, and things are changing in the NFL week to week. So just because there's only 2 running backs listed on the depth chart right now doesn't mean that they're not going to have 3. Guarantee they will. Hopefully they will. All right. Here we go. Getting into more, I see some Craig Reynolds. Craig is kind of a hometown favorite, is what Patrick says. I agree. And a Rainbow Girl right below that, Cabinda and Will Harris, shaking my head. Yeah, I really didn't think Cabinda was going to make the roster. They must like that old school football. We know it. They like the tough nose, get down and gritty kind of football, and they love to keep a fullback. So that's probably why they did that, but would have rather probably had Craig over Jason Cabinda. No disrespect to Cabinda. He's a hard worker. He does his job, but yeah, just still shocked. Still kind of shocked there. All right, let's move to receiver. Yeah, Iowa Sports Network, sorry, not Iowa. That's IOW Sports Network. Thought it was Iowa. Got excited. My family's from Iowa. But they may be eyeing someone on another team. Yeah, you're right. And there's got to be something in plan. We've talked about this. We covered it. All right. Let's go. Wide receiver. And there was a few surprises here as well. These are the guys on the roster as of now. We have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who, of course, we all knew was going to make it. Marvin Jones Jr., Josh Reynolds, Khalif Raymond, and then Antoine Green only. Normally, NFL teams keep around 6 wide receivers. We are keeping 5 here, and we kept 2 running backs. So kind of cutting it short on some positions than we normally would, but they probably have a plan in place like we just talked about. But missing the cut is Dylan Drummond, Chase Cota, who was waived to an injury settlement, Maurice Alexander, Trinity Benson, Jason Moore, and Avery Davis. Now, if you were here with me last week, I had Chase Cota in, I had Dylan Drummond in, and I had potentially, Maurice Alexander stealing one of the spots from them, but I thought that they would keep at least 6 to 7 wide receivers on the roster. They kept 5. I thought Dylan Drummond had a great preseason, a great camp. I thought he did enough to make the roster. He didn't. I thought he showed out in the last preseason game. I thought he had a good game. Chase Cota also had an argument to make it. Obviously waived from an injury settlement. Didn't have the best last preseason game. He did drop a touchdown pass. But other than that, he was pretty solid. But injuries will bang you up, and they will cause you to not make a roster. Now, Maurice Alexander had that explosive punt return. But other than that, kind of been silent. Had some injuries. So, makes sense there. Trinity Benson, Jason Moore, Avery Davis were all outside shots to make it to me. But once again, shocked here that we're keeping less than what we normally would. There's got to be a plan there, I hope. I do trust that, I would have rather kept Antoine Green over some of these other guys just because he's a rookie. He shows more promise. He's got more potential. He definitely would have been picked up off of waivers. When these guys might slip and make it to our practice squad. But once again, keeping less than the normal at a key position on offense. Of course, we have Jamison Williams coming back week 7. But, we got to do something there. And I think our wide receiver room right here is good enough. Just still expected to keep one more. Expect maybe for a punt or kick returner as well. But Khalif Raymond, it looks like he will be filling that void as he usually does. Going to the comments back over here, I see more comments coming in, a ton of them. And we are all over the place, but it's all good. IOW Sports Network. I like Green. I like Green as well, and I think that he could really, he's got some speed. He showed some promise out there. He was wide open on a lot of the passes that he caught in the preseason, and if he can make that separation against the first-team defense, he could really find himself in a good place on this roster. But we will see. I think that he might be someone who ends up shining for us on this offense. All right, what's your take on the Mike Evans thing? Braylon, we'll get there. But you know what? Actually, we can do it right now as we're breaking this down because we are at wide receiver. And maybe that's the deal. Maybe, there is a lot of rumors going around right now about Mike Evans potentially coming to Detroit on a trade. I didn't see it happening. I see a few people on X, formerly known as Twitter, saying that they have sources that are very reliable telling them that Mike Evans is coming to Detroit on a trade. Me personally, I don't see it happening just because it's not like our regime to do something like that. We already brought in Marvin Jones Jr. this year, who's above 30 years old. I don't see Brad bringing in Mike, who's 30 years old right now, an older wide receiver. He is a proven veteran. I just don't see him fit in the culture, fit in the style. He's great. He was great. He's a good player. I don't see it happening. I would not be mad if he comes over. It's okay. That'd be great for me, for a lot of people. But I don't see it happening. If it does happen, that'd be great. But I don't see it happening. We'll find out, though. We'll find out if these people on X who have been, running their mouth about Mike Evans getting traded to Detroit, just watch. I promise you, my sources are good. I'm not saying that. I've seen it. But we only kept 5 wide receivers. They could be onto something. I personally don't see it happening with Mike Evans. Maybe somebody else. But you never know. We'll see. That's just my take on it. I don't think it's happening, but I wouldn't be mad about it. And now looking at, we only kept 5. It could happen, but he is 30. He's had some injuries. He gets banged up year after year. We'll see. 1-year contract, wouldn't mind. All right. Here we go. Not really surprised at wide receivers, what Grit says. Yeah, the other guys were fighting. It was tough cuts, and maybe they all just didn't have what it took to make the roster. They said, hey, good try, but we are eyeing somebody better that we know we can go and get, and that's the plan. All right, did Maurice Alexander make the practice team? D77 Mac, we won't know that until he clears waivers. I hope that he does. Now, it'll be around, I think, what's the waiver time here? Let me take a look at this. I think they have about 24 hours for teams to claim players off the waiver. And if that doesn't happen, then they can be picked up from us. But we are 18th on the waiver list, if you didn't know. The Chicago Bears are number 1, which sucks. So hopefully they don't pick up any of our guys. But yeah, everyone waived over the weekend will either be claimed or cleared from waivers by noon tomorrow. So if he passes waivers and gets to us, I think that he'll be on the practice squad for us. But we'll see. He did show some promise. Had a nice electric return there. I don't know if anybody else is going to pick him up, though. So I would not be shocked to see him back on the practice squad, and it would be a good thing. I think we'll see a good amount of these guys who we let go today back on our practice squad. All right, going through. I thought Alexander or Coda stayed for returns. That's Kryptonic TV. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, too. One of those guys was going to make it, and then Drummond made a strong case for himself in the last game as well. He wasn't really a returner, but I could definitely could have seen Coda or Alexander staying, especially for that reason. They both showed that they have promise there. I mean, Coda had a nice return on the punt return. It wasn't a touchdown, but he showed that he has skill there. So, yeah, that's the only reason why I think I was shocked that neither one of them made that 6th wide receiver there on the team. All right. D77 Mac. Hey, my favorite player besides St. Brown. I don't know who we're talking about, man. I'm sorry. You can let me know. All right. All these guys' cuts have equals around the league getting cut today. Yeah. So it's all, yeah, you're right there, Kryptonic. It's an emotional thing rather than mattering much. These guys work hard. They're going to find their way on a roster. Hopefully a lot of them do. Cutting players is probably the heaviest lift and about all of football. Yeah, definitely. I'm a coach of baseball and in high school, and we have to make cuts each year, and it sucks. Anyways, I'm going to keep on moving on. And here we actually, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm in the comments. I'm all over. The Lions releasing this late. Me going on at 3:30 today is throwing me off a little bit. I am sorry I'm all over the place, but I love all the comments coming in here. Kryptonic TV, that 19 million cap space is now cut down. The money for all the practice squad signings comes out of it. They won't spend 13 million on Evans, 6 games and 5 million cheaper. They do it. Yeah, they're definitely not going to spend 13 million on Evans. That's why, another reason why I don't see him coming over. But you're right about that. We're going to have to spend some of that on those guys. I think we can go out and get somebody younger, maybe not better, but somebody who can fit our system better. And you're spot on there, Kryptonic TV. IOW Sports Network, or it could be another receiver that we are seeing. You are right. Okay, I'm just going through the comments, y'all. Brad knows how to get those diamonds out of the dirt. Exactly right, and I think that we're going to be fine. Wondering if we rock with 2 QBs or try to pick someone else up. That's what Zach says. I don't think we're going to pick anybody else up, and this is why I think that, and hopefully we won't need to. If Goff stays healthy, there's no need, obviously. We have Teddy Bridgewater as our backup. But after 4 games, I see them activating Hendon Hooker and him being our third-string quarterback, whether it's, we're going to have to put him on the squad. Somebody else going to try and get him. But that's what I see happening here, or we're maybe going to sit him the whole time until we absolutely need him. I hope that doesn't happen. Let's just pray for Goff to be healthy all year. That's all I want. All right. When Drummond let the punt to the ground, I think that was his number up. Yeah, sorry, the screen's little right there. Kryptonic TV, yeah, I think that's why. I agree with you 100% on the Drummond right there. I thought that he did have a good preseason, a good camp. He did have some drops in the second game. He came out strong the third game, caught some passes, but putting that punt on the ground, that's gonna cost you over there. All right, let's move on. Of course, suspended is Jamison Williams in the wide receiver room, but he'll be back. That was just one more wide receiver news right there that we all already knew. Moving on to tight end, though, we kept Sam Laporta, Brock Wright, and James Mitchell while letting go of Daniel Helm, Daryl Daniels, and, of course, on injured reserve is Shane Zylstra. No big shock to me here. I like our 3. I do think that Daniels will get on the practice squad. Didn't have a bad camp. Don't think he makes the 53-man roster all year unless injury happens. But I like this core right here. Sam Laporta, rookie out of Iowa, did great in college. I expect him to do great things here in Detroit. Maybe not the first year, but I do expect him to have a good year. I think he's going to shine. I think he's going to make some plays for us. I also like Brock Wright, of course, from last year, coming out and making some big plays, especially that Jets game. Love you, Brock Wright, especially for that one. And then James Mitchell didn't get a lot of time last year. He was coming off of an injury out of college, out of Virginia Tech. But he was really good in college. And this year, in the preseason, you can already kind of see when they dump it down to him, he gets some yards after catch. The guy moves for a tight end. And I like this core right there. I'm liking it. Alrighty. Offensive line. On the roster, we have Taylor Decker, Jonah Jackson, Frank Ragnow, Vaitai, Panay Sewell, Graham Glasgow, Matt Nelson, and Colby Swordsdale. Rookie Colby Swordsdale, who was just out there moving people last week, so I'm so glad he made the roster. But some people are shocked by some of the people we did not keep on the offensive line, specifically Jermaine Ifedi. They had to make room for other people. I wasn't too shocked by it. A lot of people are. I think he probably gets picked up waivers elsewhere, does not come back to the practice squad. But we have a good offensive line there. Some people are arguing Matt Nelson should have been cut and Ifedi should have stayed. Who knows? It's an argument there, though. But I like this offensive line. Small argument there. But hopefully he does pass waivers and make the 53-man roster. What do you guys think about this? Do you like Matt Nelson over Ifedi? Do you like Colby Swordsdale on this? I love it. I love Colby on there. That's for sure. But other than that, solid offensive line. Once again, top 5. Let's go. Going back in the comments over here, I am going to read because we got some more comments. Who's your Gotti? I'm very high on Laporta, was fuming when somebody snatched him before me in my fantasy draft. Woo, fantasy drafts. Yes, the NFL season is here, and you know that especially because fantasy drafts are happening. They've happened. I got my teams too. But yeah, Laporta, I think he's going to do great for us this year. I've said this before. I've hyped him up. He carried the Iowa offense last year. That was terrible. But, normally it's not a tight end carrying the offense, and he still had great numbers. He still had a lot of highlights. The quarterback, Petrus, if my grandpa's watching, he knows how I feel about him. Don't have a lot of good things to say about Petrus, but Laporta made him look decent at some points and would make some things happen. So I am very high on Laporta as well. All right, Kryptonic TV, Mitchell and Brock are both doing all the right things for what you hope from tight ends in the league. The intangibles. You are 100% right. I love both of them. I think that we got 3 great tight ends right there, and we can rotate them all. I am more high on Laporta. Of course, he was a high draft pick for a tight end, our first pick in the second round, and I think he'll be the number 1 guy. But you're not going wrong when you put Brock Wright or James Mitchell out there. I do think it's a little bit of a drop-off, but these guys are great NFL players, great tight ends, and they are going to show out this year. They're being mentored and taught by one of the nastiest tight ends of all time, Dan Campbell. No, I'm just kidding, but I'm not kidding. I just think that we have a good wide receiver, I'm sorry. Once again, going later, this is throwing me off, but we have a good tight end room there, and I am happy with it. All right, moving on to defensive line. Now, this position right here to me is stacked, and I was expecting some more cuts from it, but we kept a lot, all right? Aiden Hutchinson, of course, Hutch, going to have a great year this year. Charles Harris, Aleem McNeil, Isaiah Buggs, John Kaminsky, Josh Paschal, James Houston, Broderick Martin, Romeo Okwara, Levi Onwuzurike, Benito Jones, and keeping the Okwara brothers together, Julian Okwara makes the cut. You love to see it. He had a good preseason. The Giants were interested in him. They might still be. Maybe we trade with them for something. But I like the Okwara brothers together. I saw somebody said something about that earlier. And, we went from having a defensive line last year or the last few years where we're just like, oh, man, what are we doing? But I think we've made some pretty significant upgrades here and really haven't even went out and got anybody. They're just developing. Like, Hutch makes a huge difference, obviously. But then Pascal's going to come off. He was injured a lot of the year last year. I think he's going to have a great year. James Houston, we saw what he can do in just a short amount of time. And then you got Charles Harris returning from injury, who I expect to have another good year. Kaminsky, of course, is a beast. Levi showed out in the preseason. I think that he's going to have a pretty good year there in the middle, and he's going to make a difference on that run defense. Of course, Aleem the Dream and Isaiah Buggs plugging up the holes in the middle there. Benito Jones, like it, and the Okwara brothers doing their thing. Missing the cut was Christian Covington, Corey Durden, and Chris Smith. No shockers here on who missed, but like I said, kind of surprised we kept that many people. We'll see what happens here moving in the future. Like I said, there was rumors of the Giants being interested in Julian Okwara, so something could happen there too, but we will see. We got some comments over here. Keeping the D-line fresh. Yeah, Zach, I think that's the reason why. And Braylon Dennis, that's how I was going to answer. You said, why is Julian still here? I think it's just more of a depth thing right now. But like I said, could potentially be because maybe they're getting calls for him. So they wanted to keep him on the roster. And they're like, hey, we don't have a practice squad guy. We're not going to let him go to waivers. They're going to just pick him up. So why not keep him on, try to get something for him if they are receiving calls for him. I think it's something smart. Then we can fill another hole there maybe, or get another draft pick. But maybe that's the reason why they're keeping Julian. He had a good game against the Giants. Other than that, I don't know. All right. Here we go. I'm surprised the Okora brothers are still on the team together. Says who's you gotti? I'm with you, but I just said I'm going down this too. I'm answering question for question, so not trying to say I just said. You probably asked at the same time. Anyways, yeah, maybe they're still getting calls, and maybe they're working out a deal, and they want him on the 53-man roster so they can trade him and get something for him instead of him just going to the waivers. All right, Kryptonic TV. I do too. Okora boys have the right energy, and I love how proud Julian is of his big bro and playing together. Good stuff. It is a good story. We'll see how the story goes. Who knows? Julian does show promise every once in a while. But like I've been saying, this is not the end-all, be-all. Things are still going to move around much more. And maybe a lot more before the Chiefs game. So hang tight. Who's you got? Harris, Pascal, and Kaminsky seem like a perfect back situation as it was. Yeah, it's just a depth thing right now. I don't know. The more I'm thinking about it, I'm just kind of like, they could have kept somebody else. And Brandon is like, Julian provides nothing to this team, dog. Yeah, I'm kind of, with you. The more and more I'm thinking about it, I'm just like, why are we holding on to him? Why do we have so many? But hopefully it's for the reason that I was saying, and that somebody wants to trade for him and we get some kind of value out of him. That's just what I see happening. I'm not sure. If Martin can become what he could become, this line is going to be scary. Yes, Broderick Martin is a beast. He's a monster. The guy just towers over everybody out there, and if he can get low under the offensive lineman and really use his leverage, this guy is going to be a force to reckon with. He's going to be a problem. There's going to be nobody running through that line. We'll have the Aleem the Dream, Broderick Martin plugging up those holes, Levi Onwuzurike. It's a good thing. I hope that they can get the best out of him, and so far the Lions coaching staff has done a pretty good job of getting most of the potential out of the young players. Grit, there's still some trades to be made. You're right. We're not even done through the roster here, and we're going to talk about some more trades. But one more comment before I get back into it, because it's about the D-line. They have the D-line depth now to send the perfect player out on the field for what they expect coming. There's never been that case. You're right, and I like what you're saying today, Kryptonic TV. It's always great to have depth on there. You don't get tired. You can rotate guys. They stay fresh while that offensive line is out there getting worn out play after play, and we're sending out fresh guys play after play and getting through them and making moves. I don't know if Julian's going to be that guy, but it is good to keep a good amount of D linemen there, especially for that depth, so you can keep them fresh all game. All right, Robert, I am not going to respond to you because we don't like the Vikings in this chat, all right? Okay, linebackers. Here we go. On the roster, Alex Anzalone, Derek Barnes, Jack Campbell, Malcolm Rodriguez, Jalen Reeves-Maybin, and Anthony Pittman. The only one missing the cut is Trevor Nowatzki, and not a shocker. Trevor, tough break for you. I actually coached a kid named Trevor Nowatzki, so spelled a little bit different. Was kind of pulling for you, but I didn't expect it to happen. Good linebacking core there, though. I see Jack Campbell working his way into a starting role and being a force for us all year. But yeah, let's keep this moving. Secondary. Now, this is where it gets interesting. It's been interesting already. We've had some crazy cuts. And I got to take a sip of my Kool-Aid before I get into this. But here we go. Cam Sutton, of course. C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Kirby Joseph, Emmanuel Mosley, who has been reactivated to the 53-man roster today, which is amazing news. He's going to make, a huge difference for this secondary on defense here, and I don't expect him to start week 1, but this keeps activating him today, keeps him from missing 4 games. You love to see it. Welcome back, Emmanuel Mosley. Jerry Jacobs made the roster, of course. Brian Branch, Will Harris, Tracy Walker, Fatu Melon, Stephen Gilmore, and Khalil Dorsey. Now, missing the cut, I'm going to get into this real quick, which I see 2 shockers here that, I see 1 shocker, and that's Starling Thomas, the 5th. I thought that he was definitely making this, but bringing back Emmanuel Mosley, you got to get rid of somebody. And unfortunately, they had to get rid of 2 guys who were on the bubble, and that is Starling Thomas and Chase Lucas. Colby Richardson, Brady Breeze, Brandon Joseph, and Scott Nelson also didn't make the cut. But, Starling Thomas, I was really shocked about. I thought he had a great camp all summer. I thought he did fine in preseason. Some people said maybe he was a little too handsy. Maybe that's why he got cut. But hopefully he passes waivers. I don't see it happening. Gets on the practice squad. Stays with the team. Because, I really thought he was going to be on this team. I thought it was going to be another good story. Another undrafted free agent making this squad. Well, we got one who slipped right underneath him. And that's Stephen Gilmore. But bad luck for Starling Thomas there to not make the team. Once again, thought he showed enough to make it. So, shocked at that one. Chase Lucas came on strong at the end, had a very nice pick, played a pretty good game last preseason game. But I think he didn't do enough before that, and that's probably why he got cut. A lot of people were upset about that. A lot of people were shocked about it. But like I just said, Emmanuel Mosley coming back, you have to let go of somebody or a few people, and this is the result of that. Now, I think, me personally, nothing against Khalil Dorsey. I think he had a great preseason, and he shows promise. I would have personally kept Starling Thomas, maybe even Chase Lucas over Dorsey, but I like Dorsey. I don't think that, it's a tough decision right there. This is not necessarily a bad thing when you look at in the long run, because if we're cutting guys like Starling Thomas and Chase Lucas, that means that our secondary is getting a lot better, and we have to make these tough cuts in order to keep the best talent on the team. We're just improving. A year ago, these guys might be starting for us. Now, Chase Lucas was on the team. Of course, he wasn't the starter. He could have. He got injured. But, it's a tough break for these guys. We went out. We got some talent. We got Cam Sutton, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and Emmanuel Mosley all this year in free agency. So it's going to make it tough on guys who are already on the squad. And then we're always looking to upgrade. So, once again, tough break for Starling Thomas and Chase Lucas and all the other guys. Hopefully they find their way back on the practice squad. But, yeah, it's a cutthroat league. And congratulations to Stephen Gilmore and Khalil Dorsey. But, yeah, I'm so hyped up for Stephen Gilmore. I was talking about him a few weeks ago, and I was hoping that he showed out in this preseason game to make the roster. What did he do? He showed out, and he specifically had great back-to-back plays there, breaking up a pass, and then the very next play, pick 6. Talked about it before. He's mentored by his older brother, Stephon Gilmore, who's an all-pro. You can't go wrong there. Maybe Stephon comes over and retires. He's not going to retire a Lion, but maybe he ends his career with the Lions playing with his little brother. If he still got it, we don't need him, but it would be cool to see something like that. But very happy for Stephen Gilmore and the rest of the D-backs. And I said Khalil Dorsey. I shouldn't have said him. Because now I'm looking at the list again. I forgot about a guy who's been bothering me for years and years, and I know he's bothering you guys too, and a lot of you. Starling Thomas should have made the team over Will Harris. What are we doing keeping Will? I know he's versatile. I know they made a new position for him, But even when he was with us in the Patricia era, well, when he was with us in the Patricia era, it was horrendous. They gotten him a little bit better last year. I still don't think he's that good. I don't think he's good at all. Sorry, Will. Hope you don't get mad at me. But I don't know why he's still on the team. He must have a great relationship with DC, because that's the only way I see it. Starling Thomas should have been on the squad over him, in my opinion. In my opinion. Chase Lucas too. I think he shows a lot of potential there. And I hope that those guys, like I said, end up on the practice squad. But if not, I hope they go get out on a 53-man roster and show out. Have a great NFL career. I'm sorry it's not going to be with the Lions. I wish it was. And not Will Harris with us instead. But what can you do? I'm not the GM or the coach. I don't make these final decisions. All right, here we go. Grit. I'm just happy Gilmore didn't get cut. He would not clear waivers. You're right about that. Chronic TV says agree. Gilmore, the one guy that wasn't clearing waivers. Yeah, he was. That's why we had to keep him. And that's why I think that, Will Harris should have gone instead. Even Dorsey could have. I don't know why I'm putting down Dorsey so much. He had a pretty good preseason, but I just think that he's one of the weaker people in our secondary right now. But there is no way Gilmore was passing waivers with the way that he had been playing. He's a young guy. I think he's going to get better. Might have found a steal there. He looks little, but, corners don't have to be huge, and he makes plays. All right. I'm taking – this is Braylon here. Or actually, we're going to go up. I haven't read one of Eric's comments here today. If they keep if they're keeping Tracy Walker at second string, they should just trade him. I think they have a lot of plans for all of them. I think they have different packages. I don't think Tracy's going to be on the sideline very much. I think he's going to be out there making a difference. They're going to rotate guys, certain packages. Branch will be nickel. CJ Gardner will be nickel. Branch will come out. Tracy will go in. They'll rotate him. Tracy's going to have a big role this year. He's a good player. He's a captain out there for this team. He was here when we were bad. He's one of those guys who can really show this team, hey, I came from this. Some other guys did too. But Tracy is an important piece to this defense, whether he is not the starter or not, whether he's the starter or not. But I see him still getting a good amount of playing time and making a difference on this team. And I wouldn't trade him just because of depth. You never know what's going to happen back there. We trade him, and then somebody goes down. Tracy would have stepped in. Now we're on like our third string, and we're back to, being a bad secondary. So better to keep Tracy, in my opinion, but, good point there. Chase played 6 games and never stood out enough to get beyond special teams is what Kryptonic TV says. Campbell implied he was too raw still even going into this season. That's probably why. It's probably where I got the boot. Yeah, the last game, heroics wasn't enough, and that's what I was thinking too. He just didn't show enough. Still had a lot to prove. He's a gamer. He goes out there and he can make plays. But you got to be more than just that in this league, and they are looking for something specific, and he wasn't that. Hopefully he does do well somewhere else, though. All right, Grit. Gilmore had a great preseason, and he's got his name. No way he's clear. Oh, we already did this. My bad. CT Squid. Will Harris has a BH. Oh, my goodness. All right, I shouldn't have even read that. All right, Braylon Dennis agreed. Nick, okay. I think we're agreeing on what I was covering there last time. Eric, having 10, 5'10", 190-pound DBs isn't going to give you much versatility. I think that our DB room is much better than it was before, and I think we have plenty of versatility over there. I don't know what you're talking about. We have Cam Sutton, CJ Gardner-Johnson, Kirby Joseph, Emmanuel Mosley, Jerry Jacobs, Brian Branch. That's a lot of versatility right there. Tracy Walker, Stephen Gilmore. A lot of versatility. Don't know what you're talking about. All right. Here we go. Grit. we don't want to pay Will to be on someone else's roster. It's literally cheaper to keep him than it is to cut him. I didn't know that, Grit. See, I'm learning something new every day, and that's better. Then I guess we do keep him and don't pay him. I still don't like him on the roster. I don't like what he does, but it is what it is. But that is a good point there. So that does make a lot more sense why we kept him. Way to point that out, Grit. I need you guys in here telling me this stuff some days. I was running late today, trying to get the full 53-man roster here from the Lions, and they're coming in late. I have other things to do, and it just wasn't happening. But thank you for pointing that out, Grit. These guys play soft. CJ GJ is going to go nuts on them. I agree. I think I don't know who you're talking about playing soft. Oh, let me read your comment up here before I said I think maybe DC thinks that CJ GJ, now we're talking about CJ Gardner-Johnson, with his on-field voice and alpha mode will get Will Harris in line at his best. That's my hope anyways. Okay, I got you now. Yeah, he should be. I think he's already been making a difference out there, being vocal. He's getting the best out of Kirby Joseph. Kirby was already on his way to being a star in this league after what he showed last year. But I think he's going to get the best out of this secondary. You kind of got to be nasty. You kind of got to have an attitude on defense. You got to want it. You got to go want to be a dog out there and make a play, make a hit. He's going to bring that out of everybody. And you're right. They're not going to be soft no more with him there. I agree with you. Kryptonic TV. All right, here we go. I'm surprised Pittman or Harris over Reynolds. Yeah, those are other two things. We're going back to the running back room. I'm still kind of shocked that we only have Jahmyr Gibbs and Montgomery as our two running backs on the roster as of now. There's going to be moves to be made, and let's get into the last position here of people who have gotten cut today. Before we get too much farther, I just want to get through the full 53-man roster. But on the roster as specialists, Riley Patterson is holding down the kicker job as they let go of John Parker Romo. Jack Fox, of course, back as the punter, and Scott Daly, the long snapper. I have seen the rumors, though, about we are out there trying to trade for a new kicker. We're wielding calls, and I think that's a good move. I didn't like what I saw out of Riley Patterson the last preseason game. He missed, a 53-yard field goal. That's a little understandable, but then missing the extra point. Can't have that. Cannot have that. Too many games are won and lost by 1 point, 3 points. We got to have a kicker who is more reliable out there, who's not going to miss an extra point, who can hit the extra point 99.9% of the time, because, of course, it's hard to hit it every time. It's now a 35-yarder. You can't be perfect as a kicker in your whole career. But you need a kicker who's going to hit that extra point 99.9% of the time, I feel like. And I'm not confident with Riley Patterson, so I would love to go out, trade for a kicker who is more reliable, someone who's got just a strong head on their shoulders, doesn't get rattled too much. Patterson didn't do bad with the Jags last year. He did hit a game-winning field goal in the playoffs, but I don't know. I don't know. I think that's the weak link to the team this year. There's other weak links, but you don't want to have to leave it down to a kicker you're not sure about. So go out there and get somebody. Go out there and get a sure leg kicker. Come on. We need it. A lot of people saying they want Prater back. Wouldn't mind. Okay. That is the 53-man roster. That took a while. I know I was all over the place there. Little thrown off today with today's live on just starting later and trying to scramble to get this 53-man roster all in together before the episode started. Was supposed to start way sooner. Gonna get back in these comments. You guys are going off today, and I love it. Let me know any more questions you got. I got some more things to talk about. But that is the 53-man roster. I can go through it one more time. I'll just go, we'll do it. Jared Goff, Teddy Bridgewater, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Jason Kabinda, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Marvin Jones Jr., Josh Reynolds, Khalif Raymond, Antoine Green, Sam Laporta, Brock Wright, James Mitchell, Taylor Decker, Jonah Jackson, Frank Ragnow, Vaitai, Panay Sewell, Graham Glasgow, Matt Nelson, Colby Swordsdale, Aiden Hutchinson, Charles Harris, Aleem McNeil, Isaiah Buggs, John Comiskey, Josh Pascal, James Houston, Broderick Martin, Romeo Cora, Levi Onwuzurike, Benito Jones, Julian Okwara. Then we have Alex Anzalone, Derek Barnes, Jack Campbell, Malcolm Rodriguez, Jalen Reeves-Maben, Anthony Pittman, Cam Sutton, CJ GJ, Kirby Joseph, Emmanuel Mosley, Jerry Jacobs, Brian Branch, Will Harris, Tracy Walker, Ifatu Melanfamu, Stephen Gilmore, Khalil Dorsey, and then, of course, Riley Patterson, Jack Fox, Scott Daly. I didn't really need to go back and read all that, but once I started, I felt like I was committed, so apologize for that, but yeah, let's talk about it. I do feel like we're going to go out, get another running back before the start of the season. If not, I see Craig Reynolds getting boosted up, somebody going back to practice squad before the Chiefs game. But let's get into these comments. CT Squid, we not actually handling the ball to Kabinda. Yeah, we're not handing it to Kabinda. So we could have got rid of him. You are right about that. He is more of a blocking guy. I don't know. They like the old school football stuff. They did pass it to him a few times in the preseason. He had some nice pickups. He also did drop a wide open pass that I think he would have walked into the touchdown. So not sure why they kept him. But yeah, let's move on down. Frog Crop. Why they keep Kabinda, don't get it. Just talked about it. I'm just going through the comments. But yeah, I don't get it either. I'm with you. Kryptonic TV, it's pretty daring when the word on Gibbs was not strong enough to be an every down back. If Monty gets hurt, well, yeah, that's why they got to have another plan here. And, you know, I think that I hope that Monty doesn't get hurt. They have to have another back in plan, which I think, you know, like I said, Craig Reynolds wasn't put on waivers. He was just released. We can put him on the practice squad ASAP, as we should. And I see him ultimately filling that role unless they have another plan in mind, which I don't know what goes through the mind of Brad Holmes. But sometimes genius strikes. A lot of times it does, especially with the draft. So I trust that we'll get that handled. I hope so, at least. But yeah, that's pretty daring, like you said. It's a risky move to keep only 2 running backs on your roster. So I do see that changing. All right, Braylon Dennis, don't like Patterson either. Want Badgley back. I don't know why we ever got rid of the Honey Badger, the real Honey Badger. Badgley, man. Nah, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I thought that he should have stayed with us. I think that he proved himself. He did miss some field goals last year, but he was pretty consistent. You know, he was pretty reliable. Didn't have the strongest of legs, couldn't hit those big Prater kicks, but he was reliable. And I would have much rather have kept him than traded for Riley Patterson or tried with John Parker Romo. I honestly would rather go with John Parker Romo and take the risk with the big leg than with Riley Patterson if he can't stay consistent even in the preseason. So I don't know what they're thinking there. I do think that they are going to make moves. They are one of 4 teams, I think, out there that they listed earlier who are trying to look for a new kicker via trade. So wouldn't mind if that happened. I would have rather seen Romo been there right now. Not Dan Campbell. Once again, another guy that they like for some reason, and they're going with him. All right, CT Squid. Well, they're going with him for now. Hope we trade. Let's go make that trade. Because I don't want the kicker to be the weakest link on this team. That wouldn't be good. Because you need a kicker. A kicker is going to win you and lose you games sometimes. You need that reliability there. CT Squid, maybe we are towing old school and Kabinda is going to be lead blocking like Moose. Yeah, I could see that happening, definitely. I think Dan Campbell's that type of coach that he wants to go out and do that, you know? He loves the old school smash mouth style of football. Man, can't talk. Telling you this later live is getting to me, but I need to get used to this because I have more engagement today and I love it. But it is one of my more sporadic, all over the place lives. I'm usually much more organized. But today has just been a crazy day with these roster cuts. Loving the comments in here today, though. But yeah, Kabinda could very well be used as an old school fullback who's just going out there laying people out. I would love to see him get the helmet with the bar right down the middle and the big old, big old face mask. Old school it up all the way. Would love to see it. Braylon Dennis, I wanted Romo to win it for Badgley. Yeah, I wanted Romo to win it too, and I thought he did well in the XFL. He shows a big leg. He has a way. He can kick it a lot farther than Patterson, and was really pulling for him. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. Maybe he lines up a job somewhere else. Maybe he ends up back with us. Who knows? The kicking carousel continues with us. When I thought we had a solid thing with Badgley there, they have different ideas. Don't know why, but it is what it is. Like I said. Eric, who were the kickers of the last teams in the playoffs last year? No all-stars, in my opinion. You're right about that. I just think that it is going to come down. Some games are going to come down to your kicker. I'm not saying Patterson's going to miss them. I'm just saying there's other guys out there that I would trust more than Patterson. So hopefully he gets it together. And maybe that was just a mishap. If you're going to get your misses, get them out of the way in the preseason. That's way better time to miss than in the regular season when it matters. I still would have rather have kept Badgley around and Romo, but you are correct. Wasn't any, outstanding kickers who won the games. I mean, there were games won and lost by the kicker. Riley Patterson was one of them. For the Jags, Cincinnati has a really good kicker, and they were in the playoffs the last few years. So there's that. Money Badger was released by his new team, CT Squid says. All right, well, then maybe we go and get him again. Who knows what's going to happen. I just think that we do need to fill that void. But yeah, it is what it is right now. It's not the worst thing to have Riley Patterson as our kicker. He did well with the Jags last year. He just needs to get a stronger leg and just have more confidence in himself. And I think that he will end up being just fine. But we could upgrade that position. And it's never hurts a team to upgrade. And that's why some guys got cut this year. Even though we still don't agree that they should have got cut. Like Starling Thomas. Some Chase Lucas probably should have. But Craig Reynolds. There's some shockers out there. And who would you say, in the comments, I'm going to get into a few other things, but who would you say was the most shocking cut today for you guys? To me, I think it had to have been Craig Reynolds. I didn't expect Starling Thomas to get cut either. But I did not expect us to keep only 2 running backs. I thought for sure Craig was making the squad, especially after I saw Benny Snell was getting cut. I was like, okay, we're rolling with Gibbs, Monty, and Craig. Not bad. Then I come to find out that we only have 2 running backs on the roster moving forward. We've talked about it. Hopefully things change. Hopefully they go out there, get another running back, or maybe they're trying to have a few more guys fight out just a few more days on this roster to see who can really hold down that last position. They trust that Craig will be on the practice squad. They're going to cut another guy, bring Craig up. I don't know their plan. But to me, Craig Reynolds getting cut today was the biggest shocker, in my opinion. Starling Thomas with a close second. You can argue a few of the receivers there too. Dylan Drummond, Maurice Alexander, and, of course, Chase Cota, but apparently he's injured. All right, I'm going to the comments, seeing what you guys have to say about who you thought was the most shocking. And Zach says Starling and Craig. Braylon says, obviously, Craig Reynolds. Grit Craig. We're all in agreement here on Starling and Craig. Eric says, what's my thoughts on the wide receiver room? Yes, I did talk about this a little bit earlier, but I don't know if you were here. I will go back over it for sure. I was a little surprised, and Grit wasn't. I always like to bring up Grit's comments. He's a normal here, and I'm seeing more and more of you guys coming back, so I love it. But I was a little shocked that they only kept 5 wide receivers in that room. I thought for sure they were going to keep 6, even 7. Some NFL rosters, a lot of NFL rosters keep 7 wide receivers. And Chase Cota, Maurice Alexander, we talked about it earlier, made a big case for themselves as returners. Maurice Alexander, especially with that explosive return. Chase Cota had a few nice returns off the punt, too. And he had some nice grabs in the preseason. He did drop a touchdown. But apparently he's injured, and that's why he was being waived. But yeah, still a little shocked that we only kept 5. I like the room, though. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Marvin Jones, Josh Reynolds, Khalif Raymond, Antoine Green. And then, of course, Jamison Williams coming back after week 6. But there are those rumors. We talked about it a little bit earlier. I believe it was Braylon who asked me, what's up with the Mike Evans trade rumors? Like I said, I don't think it's going to happen, but with only 5 wide receivers on the roster, I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be mad. I don't see it because he's 30. He's been banged up in his career. He's got some miles on him. He is a really good wide receiver, though. So I would not be mad if they brought him over. I just don't see it happening. But I feel confident in that room. I think it's an underrated wide receiver room. I just think that Goff has chemistry with these guys. And these aren't the only guys who are going out and catching the football for us. We got a good tight end room there with Laporta, who I think is going to make some strides this year as a rookie. And then you can't forget about our running backs who can both catch the ball. Montgomery's a good receiving back, and Jahmyr Gibbs can flat out play receiver for you. He runs like a receiver. He runs routes like a receiver. So with all the weapons that we have on offense in general, I think our wide receiving room is good to go for now. But I wouldn't be shocked if we make another move, go out and make a trade. Don't see it being Mike Evans, but who knows? A lot of people say that their sources, I talked about this earlier, they said that their sources are strong and they know he's coming here. Eric says Tracy Walker for Mike Evans. Woo! That'd be tough. I'd probably rather keep Tracy Walker. I just like Tracy Walker, but wouldn't be a bad move. You know, that safety room is looking nice. Because C.J. Gardner-Johnson can play safety. That's what he's going to do. Kirby Joseph's looking great. You could put Brian Branch back there. I mean, I would not want to get rid of Tracy Walker just because I feel like we need some depth back there. I think we talked about this, but I don't know. I don't know how I would feel about that. You just threw that on me. That's a good topic right there, though. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think about Eric's comment here? Would you trade Tracy Walker for Mike Evans? I want to know what you guys think. I have to think about that for a second. That's a good question. That's a good statement. Way to put that out there. All right, Kryptonic TV. Zach Kuntz cut by the Jets. Wow, wasted 2023. That's a bit of a shocker. Yeah, there's some other – see, we're not the only team out here doing some shocking waivers here and releasing players. Other teams are – you have to do it. You have to decide if you want to keep youth and move forward and get rid of some guys who have played well for you, been loyal, and have proven themselves in the league. But you just see that maybe they're, kind of declining, and you have a young guy who you potentially see becoming a star in a few years. You take a shot on them instead so they don't go through the waivers. I don't know. It's tough. It's a cutthroat league out here, and yeah, it's a tough day for a lot of people. MJJ is gonna be wide receiver 5 until JMO gets back. We are solid at wide receiver. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that that was Grit, by the way. That's my dude Grit. But Khalif Raymond, I think, is gonna have a better year than a lot of people think. He's out there putting in the work. He earned another, his contract extension. When you look at the tape, his routes are on point. I think Josh Reynolds is going to be fine. Him and Goff are looking connected once again out there in the summer. I think it's going to translate onto the field in the regular season. Like I said, I think this wide receiver room is underrated. I think we're going to be good. Wilson, Tracy coming off an injury. No one is trading for him. Good point there, Eric. I love Tracy, but I feel like he's getting left out. Don't want to see him not playing. I think he's going to play, though, Eric. I think that they have I know we talked about this a little bit earlier, but I think they have a plan in place. They have different packages that they're going to throw out there. And I do see Tracy Walker being out there quite a bit, making plays, making a difference for this defense. Don't count him out just yet, just because he's listed on the second string on the roster. They have a plan for him. Wilson, an all-pro receiver for a safety coming off a season-ending injury. Let's get real here. Yeah, but Mike Evans is kind of looking like, he's been banged up throughout his career. I'm not going to be mad if it happens. Don't get me wrong. I just like Tracy Walker, okay? I'm a Tracy Walker fan. I love my team right now. I think our wide receiver room is good to go. But, yeah, I mean, if we want to get real, if we want to come down to the logical choice here, then yes, an all-pro wide receiver all day. But just love Tracy's attitude. He loves the team. He loves the city. That's not enough, of course, to win a Super Bowl. But maybe we got what it takes already. Who knows? But you're right. Good point there. Good point. 7th round pick is not the worst to cut, but you hope year 2, not right after the draft. Yeah, you don't want to cut. And I'm glad that, we kept Antoine Green. We kept all of our draft picks from this year, and which proves just how good we've been doing in the drafts. Chase Lucas last year was the last pick of our draft. He made the roster last year, and he was a casualty this year. So kind of what you're saying right there, it happened. But at least he made it on the team last year. I wish the best for him. Braylon Dennis, if we get Mike Evans, obviously he's going to be our number 1 wide receiver. Okay. Now, I somewhat agree with you there. I think that he's going to be, yes, out there, he's going to be wide receiver 1 because Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be in the slot. But to me, Amon-Ra is now passing Mike Evans. He's not a go up and get it type of guy, but we got that with Mike Evans. We don't got it yet. If we get Mike Evans, we got an end zone threat. We can throw it up to him. He's a great route runner. I think that Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's much more youthful. But it's going to be a fight between those two to be the number 1 target for Goff. Now, Evans, yes, obviously, the talent. He's an all-pro. He's proven himself. He's going to go out there and do work for us. But I see Amon-Ra maybe getting more of a volume than Mike Evans if he were to come over here. It's Amon-Ra St. Brown's year. If you got him in fantasy, you got a guy. Because this guy's going to ball out this year, I'm telling you. All right. Eric, 30 years old. Sorry, I cannot read or do anything today. Cheers, everybody. 30-year-old wide receiver for a 6'3" big body safety who had amazing range and power when healthy. Little bias on Tracy, though, yeah. But Evans looks tired last year. And I agree. I think he's on his decline. And that's why I don't know if we go out and get him, especially trade Tracy Walker for him. I think we could probably trade a little bit less or a pick, and the Bucs would take it. They're in a rebuilding mode, so who knows? We could probably get a steal for him. But, yeah, I am definitely biased towards Tracy. That's why I was saying, I don't know. And Wilson had to correct me saying, kind of a no-brainer to take an all-pro over an injury, a guy coming off of a bad injury. But, yeah, okay. Kryptonic, I'll say what I said about Mike Evans yesterday. People are forgetting how important chemistry is with these players and Dan Campbell types. Mike Evans is a pain in the ass diva. He's not for us. It's got to be the right fit. Yeah. It's always got to be the right fit. And you got to have to come in. You got to be gritty on this team. You got to want to go to work. And I don't know if Mike Evans, I'm not saying he's not a workhorse. I'm not saying he doesn't work hard. I'm sure he does. You have to be at the level that he's at. I don't know at his age with his injuries, if he's ready to come in and do all that the Dan Campbell style of way, or I'm not sure what kind of a guy he is. Maybe, like he said, he's a diva. We don't need that in the locker room. But yeah, but if we do bring him, I mean, it could help out our offense even more than what it is right now. But he is on a decline. Don't want any problems in the locker room. If he's coming over, he's got to understand the culture, and he can't be a poison to it because we'll let you go right away. I'm not Dan Campbell, but if I were Dan Campbell, if you come in here and you start to make the locker room a little bit more diva-ish, get the heck out. That's what I got to say. All righty. Wilson, unless there's a major injury, I don't see us getting another number one receiver. Yeah, and that's what we keep talking about Mike Evans. I don't even know why I'm talking about it because I said earlier that I don't think it's going to happen. I just don't see it happening. The trade that I do see us doing is one for a kicker. But for Mike Evans, nah. Yeah. Wilson, I love Tracy too, brother. I'm with you. But like you said earlier, you did make a good point. I just don't see us going out and get Mike Evans. So no use on talking that trade right there anymore. One more thing about Mike Evans in the comments here, Kryptonic TV. Mike Evans is awesome, but his history is a cranky guy that gets in coaches' faces when things didn't go. Well, yeah. Okay, if that's the way he is, I don't even want to talk about him anymore. He's out of here. Don't bring him over to the team. Dan could probably straighten him up, probably put him on his ass. But but yeah, no Mike Evans for me. No Mike Evans for me. Eric coming in with some hot takes right here. Sewell is our number 3 RB. That would be great. That's what I would like to see. I would love to see them put out a guy like Penei Sewell in there, just like the fridge back in the day. Give him the ball and let him pound it in. But if we get into an important game, I'm not going to say the game, and our number 1 running back has had an amazing season, give him the ball to run in that important touchdown. You know what I mean? But all right, yeah, Sewell would be amazing. Wilson says, I'm wondering what we're going to do about a third running back, and I talked about this a few times today, and that's okay. I'll cover it one more time. But I truly think we do have a plan in place. They probably have some guy that they're eyeing that they're maybe going to go and get. Or, like I said, I think Craig Reynolds, is going to make the practice squad. He wasn't waived. He was released. So that means he doesn't go through waivers. We can pick him up right away, put him on the practice squad. And I think we're going to do that. I'm not sure what their plan is and who they have interest in, if that's their plan. But I also said maybe they're letting a few other guys battle it out a little bit more at these other positions where they kept more players at that position. They're going to cut one of these guys, bring up a few guys from the practice squad that they already intended on bringing back, like a Craig Reynolds. But don't be shocked if, next week, if we don't go out and get another running back already, because I just don't see us carrying 2 running backs all season, not even for the first game. Don't be shocked that Craig is back up there on the 53-man roster by next week for the start of the season against the Chiefs. But all right, this was quite the long episode for me. And, it was a shocker today on some things, and we got going a little bit later. Normally, I am here at 5 p.m. every single Tuesday. That's 5 p.m. Eastern time. I'm not sure where everybody's located. But, yeah, normally I'm here every Tuesday, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. West Coast time. And today we went a little later because we were trying to wait for this 53-man roster. Obviously, we had a lot to talk about. A lot of people are upset with some of the cuts. A lot of people are shocked. Some people are good with it. But, Kryptonic TV makes a good point right here. Snell or Reynolds make the practice squad for sure, and they would be interchangeable. Snell is a special team specialist, so has some extra upside as well. Yeah, I saw that too in the preseason. I thought that Snell actually did well. Even when he got the ball, he was running hard. He didn't get a lot of opportunities, but I could definitely see him working his way from the practice squad to the 53-man roster. Like you said, I would love to have him there. I don't know if anybody else picks him up, but either one of those guys to be on the practice squad to bring up would be great. Wilson, peace. Yeah, I'm going to get out of here real soon too. I'm going to entertain a few more of these comments, but it's been a great day today talking with you guys. Not a great day for a lot of these Lions who got cut, or a lot of the players around the league. And this was honestly a more off the top of the head podcast for me. Normally I have a little bit more in line of what I'm going to talk about, but it was cut day. Waiting for the Lions to do it right when they released it, went live, and we're here talking about it. That's what we're here for. We're here for each other to let us vent about the Lions, you know? All right, Wilson. Yes, I said peace. Scotty. Philly released Trey Sermon. Okay. Like I say, there's some moves that we could still make. There's a lot of people out there. There's going to be guys that we pick up off the waiver. There's going to be guys who are on the roster right now who won't be on the roster, come a few weeks, maybe even come next week. Maybe come tomorrow they won't be on the roster. Who knows? This league is forever changing, and it's just day to day for a lot of these guys. You got to make the best out of it. But Kryptonic TV says, great to find you. Subscribe. See you again soon. Yes, we have more than just me on this channel. We got my dude Gridiron Derek. He does lives 3 times a week normally, especially when the season will get ramped up. So come back. Kryptonic TV, I will be back here every Tuesday, 5 p.m. Detroit time, 4 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. West Coast. Yes, Kryptonic TV, I will like and subscribe to you as well. Grit, peace. You know what? We're all saying our piece right now. I'm going to get out of here while we're doing it. It was a fun time today, and we will be back next week. And when I talk to you next week, there will only be 2 days left until the Lions play the Kansas City Chiefs. Right now we have 9. Next week we'll have 2. I can't contain my excitement. We are here. Football season is here. I've drafted my fantasy teams. I know some of you guys have. It's here. I'm glad. It was a long wait, but it's time to do work. One pride, baby. See you guys next week. Peace.
Touchdown, Detroit Lions!